Hello, folks. In this video, I wanted to talk about some of my opinions and thoughts and ideas around what I think about, Indian culture and like cultures and like some behaviors in the society that I noticed and I have noticed. Right. I think for a long time I didn't know that there was a term called feminism. Right. I am really still oblivious to a lot of this feminism content, and I don't know if I'm a feminist, but I am very much interested in the topic, though. Right. It's a very controversial topic. I think I learned about the term very late. I heard about the term very late, and I think I assumed feminism meant supporting women, right? Like the name feminism, I thought it's activism for women or whatever, right? And then came my first job, a person who actually came up in the internal training for the first job. They came up to talk about some stuff because everyone was told, hey, talk about some topic, and this person came and spoke about feminism, right? So this person came and said, feminism is actually not just about supporting women. It's actually about treating men and women equally, right? It's not about treating women specially and whatnot, right? So I was like, wow, okay, I didn't know this. Also, I remember, like, I think I assumed the wrong definition, or I thought of the wrong definition all that while until this person came and said, feminism is all about treating men and women equally, right? So I was like, wow, and even till date, a lot of women who say they are feminists and they support feminism, I doubt they're actually looking at the men, actually, right? They're always looking at the women. If you talk more about it, they're like, see, men get a lot of things and women don't get a lot of things. Interesting idea is, these kind of women, I don't know, like, I think then there are other kind of women who also say stuff like future is female, right? However, I'm gonna die in a few years, tens of years, say surely after 100 years I won't be alive. So I don't know if the future is female or male, but then and I think I'm okay with, like, I am no one to say that I'm okay with future being female, but then I'm just gonna say that, see, if future is female or male, I don't care, but if you say that future is female, well, remember that actually there are not just two genders, right? All these people talking about feminism, future is female, do they even know that there are so many other genders? There are transgender people, there are other people who don't even identify with a particular gender, right? But these people think only male, female, that's all binary, right? There's just two genders, right? But I think I've heard numbers around like 54 genders or something, and I think it'll still be counting around the world. And these people talk about feminism, men and women being equal, or future is female. The reality is there are so many genders. You just want to focus on women. Well, trans women, trans men will then be like, we want to focus on trans men, trans women, right? There is always some minority. There is always someone who is actually at a disadvantage, and a lot of women are like, see, women are at a disadvantage. Women have problems, and that there are so many people who have problems in this world. No one said women don't have problems, or it is true that women do face a lot of problems in the world, in India and all that. And it is also true that other genders also face problems. For example, transgenders and all, they also face problems, right? But then these people, women, are like just being like, there are also people talking about fuck patriarchy. There are Instagram pages like that, right? They talk about patriarchy, they talk about men and whatnot. They're just looking at that, that's all. They just want to just hate men. I'm fine with it. Hate us, hate men, it's fine. I'm fine with it. I think a lot of people will be fine with it. Sure, go ahead, avoid us, kill us, uh, do genocide or whatever. But then it's not like I don't know. Like, will the world become a better place? I don't know. I mean, if that really solves your problem, please go ahead, do it, right? But then the reality is, I don't think. Like, I don't think so. I mean, funny thing is, women and men. I mean, like people talk about how men can do anything and women cannot do anything, and women should be able to do everything. The funny thing is, women are like women should be able to do all the bad stuff also that men do, right? Like women agree that they're bad stuff. For example, smoking or drinking alcohol or whatever. I agree that anyone should be able to do anything based on their will, right? Unless and until they are being forced to do something based on their will, they should be able to do anything, right? Like I think even take their own lives. I mean, a lot of people do that, though legally it's not correct. It's illegal. A lot of illegal stuff out there, but then based on will, they should be able to do anything, right? In which case, I mean, funny thing is, it's just a bad idea to be like, well, men should also be able to become psycho killers or serial killers or thieves and whatnot, because that's just crazy, right? Like, I mean, there are people and then there are people who you don't want to be like, and then women are like, women should just be anything that they want to be, and that includes becoming bad people also, right? So what does that mean? I mean, if you kill all the men and say that female is the future and whatnot, I mean, you can still have female villains, women villains, right? I mean, though a lot of people say women should support each other, women should support women, I mean, men don't support men, women don't support women. Just because you're queer or transgender doesn't mean you support one another transgender. That's just like, I mean, it is true that you belong to the same gender, some community, some group of people. You're all men, or you're all women, or you're all transgenders, or you all belong to the same religion or whatever, right? There is always some sort of group, right? But you can't always be like, just because you belong to a group, two people of the same group should actually help each other out. Instead, ideally, you should be like, two living organisms should just help each other out. If you are a human and then there is an animal, say a dog, you help ideally each other out, right? You don't show hatred and whatnot, right? Ideally, you need to have humanity, you need to have some level of empathy for organisms, living organisms, right? Be it any living organism. This can even be people and animals and whatnot, right? This can even be, for example, I know people who will actually save snakes, for example, and be okay with snakes biting them. And they'll be like, well, the snake doesn't know that I don't want to cause problem to it. But then they'll be like, it's okay, it's fine if the snake thinks that I'm like a bad person, or I'm trying to actually cause harm to it, and that's why it just bit me. And even if the person dies, I think they'll be okay with it. They'll be like, I'm fine if I die, it's fine, I just try to rescue the snake, right? So they'll be okay with a living organism causing harm to them. At the cost of getting harmed, they will still actually be empathetic and feel good about and feel great about the organism, right? There are a lot of adventurous people who are actually zoological people, or like people who are in the field where they actually interact and live with animals and whatnot. People who are actually forest rangers, or people who are actually into wildlife cinematography and whatnot. So they will actually end up usually in a situation where they are stung or bit by some wildlife and they just died. They are putting in that effort, and they're putting in the work, and they're doing all their work, and they're fine with it if a living organism just comes and kills them, right? Even though there are all those risks, they do it, right? So it's a big thing. And then there are people who are like, I don't care if you're a woman, I don't care if we are both women, I don't care if we are both men, I'm not going to support you, right? But funnily, people do expect it, right? They're like, hey, a woman should support another woman, right? A queer person should support another queer person, but that's not always the case, right? And why should you? Maybe you have some values that don't align, right? Like even women can hate each other and be like, she is a bad woman, or she is a woman who doesn't have values that I have, right? Or something like that, right? So, I mean, if you say future is female, I don't see it being very different, right? And the funny thing is, a lot of women who are, I say, heterosexual, they want men, they want to actually be with men, but then they'll actually complain a lot about men also, right? And they'll have a lot of expectations. And the funniest thing is, I think some women just want some doll or a puppet, right? Just to actually that shakes head and does whatever the woman says, right? And interestingly, a lot of men and women and the law does not agree with a man showing his wrath to a woman, right? Like being abusive, physically abusive and whatnot. But then, I mean, that is right. I agree with it. No one should actually physically abuse someone or emotionally abuse someone and all. Do gaslighting, hit physically and whatnot, right? But then women are also doing those kind of stuff actually in this day and era. Women do physically abuse men. Women do emotionally abuse men. Women do gaslight men and whatnot. And I think women don't see it. The women who do it, they don't see it, I think. The problem with a lot of women and a lot of human beings, I think, is that they can't see their shortcomings, right? Like, I know what are my problems, what are my issues, what are my weaknesses, right? I know a bit of my strengths, but I know a lot of my problems and weaknesses and issues that I have, right? That can cause problems to others, right? Like, I literally know it because I have been mocked, I have been insulted, I have been teased, I have been criticized, and I have been told bold, clear truth to my face, right? And a lot of people have done good to me by telling stuff to my face that, hey, this is not okay, and hey, this is not what I was expecting, I am disappointed in you, and things like that, right? The problem is a lot of women don't get this because I think it's the idea that either they got feedback and they got criticism from people, or they never got it. I think it's kind of like, I used to have a friend when I was in my high school in 12th grade who used to say, let me put it in a decent way, because she said it in a very indecent way. She said, if someone is a stupid person or is an idiot, the best revenge to take on them is basically to not tell them that they're stupid, right? So I think these women and these human beings who have actually been very, very rude or very bad to others, I think the people who are at the receiving end of this wrath or this abuse, emotional abuse or physical abuse, verbal abuse and all, they probably didn't tell these people that, hey, this is not okay, or hey, you are behaving in a very weird way, in a way that is not okay, right? They probably didn't tell it intentionally or unintentionally. Some people who would have done it intentionally, they would have been like, well, you are a bad person, or you have toxic bad behaviors, because usually bad person is a very hard thing to say, but you can actually talk about behaviors easily. You have a lot of toxic behaviors or bad behaviors, but I'm not going to tell it to you because, well, you figure it out yourself. I'm just going to leave you, right? And then women are just crying. Women are either crying that they can't find the right man, or they can't find the man that they want, or a man left them, and then they're like, it's good riddance. Only few women, I think, will be like, the right man, a gentleman left them, right? For some good reason, probably, right? It could just be a sad situation. Maybe their character and personality is in such a way that it just won't work out. But they should just agree with that, and rather than just complaining and crying about the fact that they can't find someone, well, there's a reason, good reason for that. But why do you want to really depend on men if you are, and especially when you are a feminist who's like, well, men are bad or whatever? Well, fuck men. I mean, kill them, whatever, or don't care about them, let them die or whatever. Future is female, go for it, and live alone, have a great life. Don't cry around saying that, you can't find a man and whatnot. Just be happy by yourself and just stop cribbing, saying that, no, I can't find a man, I can't find a gentleman, I can't find the perfect man. Well, you probably don't need one based on what you say, your feminism and whatnot, or fake feminism, like some people call it, or whatever, I don't know. You can call whatever you want yourself and your ideologies, but just don't expect the world to twist and turn to your to your whims. The world will behave in a way that it wants to behave. You fucking have to accept it, and no one said the world is fair. So if you're saying the world is unfair, well, it is. So that's all I had for this video, talking about women, feminism, future is female, and whatnot. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.